Term 6, Lesson 23, Unit 5.6, Percentages of Amount. Here's your remember task. Give these 4 questions a go, press pause on the video and press play when you're ready to carry on. Okay, let's go through the answers. Okay, what fraction is equivalent to 50%, 25% and 75%? These are the 3 that I've told you before, really must have in your head. All 3 versions, the fraction, the decimal and the percentage. Okay, 50% is a half or 0.5 as a decimal. 25% is a quarter, that's 0.25 as a decimal. And 75% is 3/4, which is 0.75 as a decimal. Those 3 really important to have in your heads. Question 2, work out half of 18. The denominator is 2, so you're going to divide by 2. 18 divided by 2 is 9, so it'll be £9. A quarter of 12. Here's a bar to help you. So if you cut 12 in half, you'll have 6, but to get a quarter, you've got to cut it in half again. Half of 6 is 3. So a quarter of 12 centimetres is 3 centimetres. So 3/4 of 12 centimetres. If 1/4 is 3, we've got 3, add 3, add 3 to get 3/4, which is 9 centimetres. Change each fraction to a percentage. Remember, to change it to a percentage, we need it to be out of 100. So first one's okay, we've got 4%. 7/10, we need to multiply by 10 to get 70 hundredths, which will give us 70%. 11/50, we need to multiply that by 2 to get to 100. 22 hundredths, 22%. 20, I know that we can multiply by 5 and we'll get 100. An alternative would be to divide by 2 to get 10 and then multiply by 10. Okay, I'm just going to multiply by 5, so it's 45 over 100, 45%. Work out 0.1 times 20. Okay, if you times one number by 10 and times another number, if you multiply 10 by 100, you get 1,000. If you multiply the other way, 100 times 10 is still 1,000. Okay, so we've made 10 times bigger and we've made 100 10 times smaller, but you still get the same answer. Okay, so if I make this 10 times bigger, remember move the digit over, it'll be 1, but make this 10 times smaller, make it a 2, so 1 times 2, oh, here we go, is 2. So for B, okay, if I make this one 10 times bigger and this 10 times smaller, it'll be 1 times 3.2, which is 3.2. Okay, same thing here, except I haven't just written the 10 times smaller and bigger, but if that was 10 times bigger, it'd be 2. In fact, if this was 10 times smaller, it would be 0.3, so it's much of a muchness there. Here, we've got to think 2 times 3 is 6, but there is 1 decimal place in the question, so we need to have 1 decimal place in our answer. D, this one we can do 10 times bigger and smaller to make it 2 times 3, which is 6. This will be 2 times 30, which is 60, and 3 times 30, which will be 90. Okay, press pause to make any corrections you need to, press play to carry on. Okay, key point, 50% is the same as a half. To find 50% of an amount, we divide by 2. Okay, so 100% is the whole bar. If we only want to find half of it, 2 will be our denominator, so that's what we divide by. So find 50% of 30. So 2 into 30, 2 into 3 goes 1, remainder 1, 2 into 10 is 5. So 50% of 30 is 15. 50% of 90, so we divide by 2. 2 into 9 is 4, remainder 1, 2 into 10 is 5, no remainders, so 50% of 90 is 45. 50% of 160, so we divide by 2. 2 into 6, 1 doesn't go, join the 1 to the 6. 2 into 16 is 8, no remainder, but we still got to do 2 into 0 is 0. So 50% of 160 is 80. Now press pause on the video, copy those 3 down, and then try the last 3 on your own. Press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, 50% of 54, so it's 54 divided by 2. Remainder 1 and 7. 54 divided by 2 is 27. 18 divided by 2, 9. So 50% of 18 is 9. 19 divided by 2. This time we've got a remainder here, so we need to put in decimal points. Remember, in the question and in the answer, line them up and put a 0 to give that remainder 1 some value. So 2 into 10 is 5. So 50% of 19 is 9.5. Okay, work out 25% of these amounts. So if we look up here at the hint, we were finding 50%, which is half. So we divided by 2. Look, 25 is half of 50. So that's a quarter. It's the same as a quarter. So to find 1/4, we divide by 4. Now we've also got to find 75%. 25% of a number and 75% of the same number. So 75% is the 3 bits remaining from the quarter. So I'm going to talk you through A and B, and then you'll press pause and do the other 2 on your own. So if we start with A, so to find 25% of £40, we divide by 4. 4 into 1 is 1, 4 into 0 is 0, so it's £10. Okay, so to find 3/4, we still have to find the 1/4, so we can do that a bit quickly. But because we want 3/4, not 1/4, we need to multiply our answer by 3. So £10 equals 1/4, so 3/4 equals £10 times 3. This is why I say you need to know that the decimals, the fractions, and the percentages for quarters, halves, and 3/4. So we know that 75% is 3/4. We found 1/4 by dividing by 4, but because we want 3/4, we have to multiply by 3. Okay, press pause on the video, copy that one down, and then do the C, D, E, and F on your own. Press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, 25% of 300, so we're going to divide by 4. 4 into 3 doesn't go. 4 into 30 goes 7, remainder 2. 4 into 20 is 5. So 1/4, or 25% of 300, is 75 kilograms. Make sure to put that in. Okay, so we're doing the same division here to find 1/4. So if 1/4 is 75, 3/4 is 75 times 3, which is 225 kilograms. 4 into 200, we'll find 1/4, 25%. There's 5, nothing remainder, so it's 50 millimeters. Okay, so it'll be the same division here to find 1/4. So 3/4 is 50 times 3. Okay, all of these. You divide by the denominator to find 1 part, and then you have to multiply by the numerator to find the fraction that they're asking for. Okay, so we divided by 4, we found 1 part, multiplied by 3 to find 3 parts. We divided by 4 to find 1 part, multiply by 3 to find 3 parts. Okay, if you've got to make some corrections, press pause and then press play to carry on. Right, blue slide. You have a go at this one on your own. Press pause and press play when you're ready to check your answer. Okay, charities can claim an extra 25% of the value of a donation back from the government. This is called gift aid. Work out how much gift aid a charity can claim on a donation of £273.50. Give your answer to the nearest penny. So we've got to divide by 4 because 25% is 1/4. So we're going to divide by 4. So £273.50 divide by 4. 4 into 2 doesn't go. Oh, remember, line up your decimals. So 4 into 2 doesn't go. So carry the 2 over to the next digit to the right. 4 into 27, that's 6, remainder 3. 6 falls to 24, so there's a remainder 3. 4 into 33 goes 8, remainder 1, because 4 8s are 32, so we got 33, so there's a remainder of 1. 4 into 15 is 3. 12, 13, 14, 15, remainder 3. 4 into 30 is 7, remainder 2. 4 into 20 is 5. Okay, so that's £68.37.5. Now we've got to go to the nearest penny. So I gave you a little hint here, remember, 5 or more, we add 1 next door. So this to here, to the 7, would be our normal money, because we have 2 digits in our pennies. But the next digit to the right is a 5. 5 or more, add 1 next door. This is 5 or more, so we have to add 1 to the 7. So it becomes 68.38. And it's pounds, £68.38. Okay, key point. You might want to write this one down and copy that little bar there. 10% equals 10 over 100, which equals 1/10. To find 10% of an amount, we divide by 10. You can then use 10% to find other percentages. For example, if you needed to find 20%, divide by 10 to find 10%, but then times it by 2 to find 20. If you had to find 30%, divide by 10 to find 10%, and then multiply your answer by 3, and you will have 30%. Okay? So let's have a look at these ones. Work out 10% of 80 kilograms. So we can divide by 10. Really thinking back to the previous unit that we looked at, unit 4, you should be able to divide and multiply by 10 and 100, etc. now. But I've set it out with the bus stop so that we can just check what we're doing. So 10 into 8 doesn't go, so the remainder of 8. 10 into 80 goes 8 times. So 10% of 80 kilograms is 8 kilograms. Okay? Remember, when you divide by 10, you're making it smaller, so the digit moves over to the right, one place. So that 8 moves into the 1s, and the 0 falls off. 10% of 150. 10 into 1 doesn't go, so we join it to the 5. 10 into 15 goes 1, remainder 5. 10 into 50 goes 5 times. So it's 15 millilitres. So again, if we just look, remember the digits move over. So the 1 goes from the hundreds to the tens. The 5 goes from the tens to the ones. And that 0 drops off the end. Okay, so if you're happy still just moving the digits over, that's really fine. If you're still a bit unsure of this, do the bus stop to do the dividing. 10 into 1,500 metres. Okay, 10 into 15 goes 1, remainder 5. Goes 5 times, there's no remainder, but there's still a 0 to divide into. So 10 into 0 is 0, so it's 150 metres. The final one of 45, 10 into 4 doesn't go, so we carry it over to the 5. 10 into 45 is 4. There's a remainder of 5. So we need to put a decimal in and put a 0 to give that 5 some value. 10 into 50 is 5. This is pounds, so we need to put a 0 on the end to make it £4.50. Press pause on the video, copy all 4 of those examples down, and then press play for the next slide. Okay, a bank pays 10% interest on all its accounts each year. 6 people have different amounts in their accounts. How much interest would each person earn in a year? Okay, so I'll just remind you with the first one. Remember, we're finding 10%, so we divide by 10. 10 into 3 doesn't go, so we go 10 into 30 is 3 times. No remainder, but we've still got to do 10 into 0, 10 into 0. And we're talking money, so it's pounds. So that person that has £3,000 in the year, they'll earn £300 extra. Okay, that's 10% extra that they've earned. So at the beginning of the year, they would have had £3,000. At the end of the year, when the interest is paid, they would have £3,300. Okay, press pause on the video. Make sure you copy the first one down and then do the other 5. Press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, remember we're dividing by 10. 10 into 1 doesn't go, join it to the 2. 10 into 12 is 1, remainder 2. 10 into 20 and 10 into 0. And this is money. 10 into 180, move the digits over one place, is £18. 10 into 4 doesn't go, 10 into 44, remainder 4. We have a remainder of 5, so we've got to put our decimals in, put our remainder and put a 0 to give that 5 some value. And remember, because it's money, we need to add a 0 on the end to make it 50p, £44.50p. £183. 10 into 18 is 1, remainder 8. 8, remainder 3, so we have to put our decimals in and give a 0 there to give that 3 some value. 10 into 30 is 3 times. It's money, so we need a 0 on the end to make it 30p. Okay, here we go. 96, remainder 6. 6, remainder 3, so we've got to have a decimal. Add the 0. 10 into 30 is 3. And we put a 0 on the end to make it 30 pence. Okay. If you need to press pause on the video to copy these down correctly, do so, and then press play. Always, always press pause if you've got to study the page longer. The videos can go quite quickly. That pause button will help you look at the page and study what you're doing. Okay, so let's have a go, see if you can do these. I might just talk you through A and B so you can just remind yourselves what you're doing. We're finding 10% of £50, so we're going to divide by 10. That's going to be £5. So for B, if we know what 10% is, so 10% of £50, we've just done that, is £5. So if I multiply this by 2, I get 20%. So if I multiply my answer by 2, I get £10, which is 20%. Okay? Have a go at the rest of the last 6 questions. Part C is still related to this one. Okay, you've got to find 80% of £50. Remember, we found 10%. So if you want 80%, multiply by 8. 5 times 8. So I've given you C anyway. Press pause on the video and then have a go at the rest of the questions. Press play when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so I started you off with C. If 10% is £5, 80% is £5 times 8, which is £40. Find 10% of 350. So if we multiply 10% by 4, we'll have our 40%. So we've got to multiply 35 by 4. That will give you 140 grams. 30% of 25. Whoops. So if we find 10%, it's 2.5. Remember, the digits move over, or you can do your bus stop if you need to. But here we've got 25. It's going to move over. The ones will go into the tenths, so you have to have a decimal. So 10% of 25 is 2.5. We need to find 30%, so we're going to multiply by 3. 10% times 3 is 30, so 2.5 times 3 is 7.5. I didn't put the decimal in there, sorry. What one are we on here? F. 20% of 36, so 10% is £3.60. Remember, we've moved over. 3 goes into the 1, the 6 goes into the tenths, and we have a 0 for the hundredths. 0 times 2 is 0, 6 times 2 is 12, 2 times 3 is 6, and 1 is 7. So 20% of £36 is £7.20. 60%, oh, where's what that did? 60% of £15. So if we find 10%, remember we divide by 10, so the 1 moves over, the 5 goes into the decimal, so it's £1.50. We want 60%, so we're going to multiply by 6. 10 times 6 is 60, that gets our 60%. £1.50 times 6, 6 times 0 is 0, 5 times 6 is 30, 1 times 6 is 6, plus the 3 is £9. So 60% of £15 is £9. So H, we need to find 90%. So we've already found 10%, it is £1.50. So we want 90%, so we're going to multiply by 9. Our £1.50 times 9, 9 zeros are 0, 9 fives are 45, carry the 4. 1's 9 is 9, add 4 is 13. Okay, I'm talking them through quite quickly, so please press pause. Make sure you understand what's happened on that page. Then press play to carry on. Right, blue slide, so this is for you to have a go at on your own. Press pause and then press play when you want to check your answers. Okay, we've got 500 tickets, 90% were sold. So how many were sold? We've got 500 tickets and we want to find 10%, so we're going to divide by 10. So 50 tickets is 10%, but we want 90%, so we're going to multiply by 9. So 50 times 9 is 450 tickets, okay? 9 times 0 is 0, 9 times 5 is 45. 450 tickets were sold. So for part B, the tickets sold for £12 each. What was the total amount of money taken in ticket sales? So we've got to do 450 times 12. Okay, so I know that you've been learning this box method like this way back at the beginning of year 7. So just familiarise yourself with this. Remember, we do 0 times 1 is 0. Anything times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. 4 times 1 is 4. 0 times 0 times 2 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 4 times 2 is 8. If you do know just the standard long multiplication method, please just do that one. It is quicker than this one. Okay, now we add our diagonals. We've got 0 there, 0, 0, 0, 0. 8 and 1 is 9 and 5 is 14, so carry the 1. So 4 and 1 is 5. And there's 0 in that column there. So we just drop those numbers down into a straight line. And remember, it's pounds. So the cost or the money taken for 450 tickets is £5,400. So apply what you have learnt. Press pause on the video. Press play when you're ready to carry on. And I will just give you the hint here. 5% is half of 10%. 1% is 10% divided by 10 again. So you divide by 10, get your answer, divide by 10 again, and you will have 1%. Press pause on the video, have a go, and then press play when you're ready for the answers. Okay, so 70 divided by 10 is 7. Half of 7 is 3.5. So 5% of 70 centimetres is 3.5 centimetres. So if 10% is 7, if we divide both by 10, we will get 1% equals 0.7. Remember, dividing by 10, you're making a smaller number and it's moving over to the right. So there's nothing, this is in the ones column, so it's going to move over into the tenths column and then put a 0 in the ones column. Okay. Sometimes they might ask you to show it in whole units, which would be 7 millimeters. Remember, there's 10 millimeters to 1 centimeter. So if you've got 0.7 centimeters, that's 7 millimeters. But you didn't have to do that. That's just a little bit extra. D, 10% of 25 is £2.50. The digits have moved over. So if we want to find 5%, we need to divide by 2. So half of £2.50 is £1.25. Now if we want to find 1%, we know our 10% is £2.50. 10 divided by 10 is 1, so that will give us our 1%. So we need to do £2.50. Divide by 10. So remember, they will move over. The 2 will go into the tenths column, the 5 will go into the hundredths column, and you'll put a 0 in the ones. So it'd be £0.25, or you could write it as 25 pence. Okay? If you feel you need to watch that whole video again, please do so. These are some important bits of maths that we're learning here. And always, always press pause. Don't feel you've got to go at the speed of the video. So thank you for watching and listening to this lesson, and we'll finish off this unit in the next lesson.